I'm bringing you another exclusive access to information investigation today. We've just got back some of the Privy Council office briefing documents on Justin Trudeau's comical trip to India last year. Now this is me, Sheila, breaking this exclusive investigation, which means that 4 days from now, either the CBC or the National Post, or probably both, will likely claim this scoop as their own. This today is a 440-page document dump that I've spent the last few days reading through. And I can tell you that the reasoning for the planning of Justin Trudeau's performances and appearances in India were as superficial as one might imagine. Who could forget Trudeau's India trip that became a national embarrassment for every right-minded Canadian out there? When Trudeau wasn't compulsively giving namaste hands to crowds, he was prancing around in costumes that Bollywood stars said were more Bollywood than Bollywood itself. And, I mean, who could forget the Liberal-linked celebrity chef Vikram Vij that Trudeau took with him at taxpayers' expense to India to cook Indian food. Vij now sits on the panel that selects Canada's so-called independent Liberal senators. Imagine that. And then there was the Sikh separatist terrorist who was involved in a murder plot that Trudeau also took with him to India, much to the horror and chagrin of our Indian hosts. Khalistani terrorist Jaspal Atwal was convicted in 1986 of the attempted assassination of an Indian state cabinet minister who was visiting Vancouver Island at the time. But Atwal then turned up in Mumbai after a formal invitation to a reception held at the residence of Canada's High Commissioner to India. What a disaster. The whole thing was a gong show, a humiliation for any of us who still have shame these days. The comical affair was so mismanaged and, frankly, so stupid that it required a deeper look. So I did. Now, like with all government document packages, there's a whole lot of nothing and wasted back and forth chit-chat in between some of the more ridiculous and relevant garbage that you find. Now, I've waded through these documents so you don't have to. Now, let's get right into it. Page 37. We see the instructions for the Trudeau's visit to the Taj Mahal. You've all seen the photos. And I'm showing you this because this is indicative of the theme of the entire document package. Everything the Liberals did in India was a photo opportunity. Carefully timed, meticulously crafted. Nothing was an accident. Starting from the main entrance of the Taj, you, Madame Gregoire Trudeau, and your family will be taken to walk through the gardens, stopping for a photo op at the iconic Diana bench with the Taj in the background. Let's go to page 46 now. It says, to visit and pay homage at one of India's largest Hindu temple complexes dedicated to the Hindu god Swami Narayan. And if I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. Now, I'm going to stop right here and tell you that I'm no Catholic theologian, but Trudeau purports to be Catholic just like me, and it's a total no-no for us to pay homage to other gods. But Trudeau did. Now, under Canadian interests for some reason, a photo in front of the temple or performing offerings will garner attention from Indian media and will be perceived in India as representative of a positive and respectful Canada-Indian relationship. For some reason, it's in Canada's best interest to get a photo op of Trudeau? What? Wait, there's more. Minister Duncan will also be present, and there will be an additional volunteer who will serve as her guide. Now, this meticulously planned event came with the hilarious faux pas of Justin Trudeau and Christy Duncan appearing in traditional Indian wedding attire together. Congratulations to the happy couple. Now, on page 102, the junket stopped at the Partition Museum dedicated to the memory of the separation of India and Pakistan in 1947. Again, under Canadian interests. A photo in front of and or inside the museum will be perceived positively in both Canada and India. Why? God only knows. Page 191. Everything about India's position on Canada and terrorism is completely blacked out. That's probably to prevent me from showing you just how angry the Indians probably were at Canada for Trudeau bringing that terrorist along to the subcontinent. And lastly, page 417. The priority for Trudeau's meeting with Indian Prime Minister Modi was perfectly Trudeau. At the time this meeting was taking place, Canada's largest pulse customer, so that's chickpeas, lentils, peas, and legumes, was India. And India was starting to place massive import tariffs on pulse crops from Canada. That caused pulse prices to plummet, harming Canadian farmers as they scrambled to find new markets for their beans. Luckily, Trudeau had the opportunity to meet with the leader of the world's largest democracy with a burgeoning economy to sort this whole tariff problem out, right? But what was Trudeau's priority for the meeting? You know what? If you're playing along at home right now, just write your guess down and see if you're right. Now, first, much of this briefing note is blacked out. Of course it is. But this is what we can see so far. They are to discuss security issues. I don't know, like maybe the importation of a Sikh terrorist into India. Not sure. Then they're going to discuss priority issues of concern for Canada, including human rights and gender equality. Who had gender equality at home? And of course, what visit from Justin Trudeau wouldn't be complete without a lecture about refugees? This is from the briefing note to Justin Trudeau. Prime Minister Modi called for the 40,000 Rohingya refugees in India to be deported just after his visit to Myanmar in late August 2017. This decision has been challenged by the Supreme Court. Amnesty International has written to you asking that you raise 6 human rights issues with Prime Minister Modi. These are the expulsion of Rohingya refugees, the Sikh massacre of 1984, Indian military conduct in the Kashmir, the rights of religious minorities, LGBTQ2 rights, and the criminalization of marital rape. Some of those are very important issues. There's no mention of the Pulse deal falling apart. Trudeau instead was taking his talking points from the Israel haters at Amnesty International instead of from Canadian farmers who were losing millions of dollars overnight. Trudeau went to India with no clear goals, except photos, meaningless virtue signaling, parading about in costumes, and moral lectures to world leaders. But hasn't that really been his international affairs strategy since 2015? For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Hey, have you seen our big, beautiful billboard truck cruising around the streets of Ottawa? It calls on the RCMP to investigate Prime Minister Justin Trudeau for obstruction of justice in the SNC Lavalin case. To see the truck and to sign my petition to the RCMP, go to jailtrudeau.com.